As the old saying goes, give a man a filet-o-fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man how to buy his own filet-o-fish and you feed him for a lifetime. In fact, there are fast food joints everywhere, and they all seem to have their own version of McDonald's famous fish sandwich. Is it some kind of conspiracy? Well, today, we're spilling the tartar sauce on why every fast food joint has a fish sandwich. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. After that, please leave a comment and let us know what other fast food items you'd like to hear about. Is something smelling fishy to y'all? In 1962, Lawrence of Arabia was in movie theaters, Chubby Checkers The Twist was on the radio, and Cincinnati McDonald's franchisee Lou Groen was having a religious crisis. His McDonald's was located in an overwhelmingly Roman Catholic neighborhood, and Roman Catholics didn't eat meat on Fridays, in honor of Jesus Christ's sacrifice. Needless to say, it was a tough spot for a restaurant that, at the time, had no entrees but burgers on its menu. Unwilling to essentially lose an entire day of business every week, Groen tried to convince McDonald's to start selling a breaded whitefish sandwich. He got the idea from a competing franchise called Frisch's Big Boy. Founder David Frisch was getting all of Groen's lost Friday night sales by putting a fish sandwich on the menu, and Groen wanted one too. It should have been an easy swim, but Groen's fish ran into a croc, Ray Kroc. Ray Kroc liked to hold himself out as the founder of McDonald's, even though he bought the company from its true founders, Richard and Maurice McDonald, in 1961. However, Kroc was responsible for transforming the company from a burger stand into the single most famous restaurant in the world. Seriously, try to find someone who hasn't heard of McDonald's. When Groen came to Kroc with his fish sandwich idea, Kroc reluctantly agreed that the Golden Arches needed a non-meat option. That being said, he wasn't too hot on the thought of all of his locations suddenly reeking of fish. Also, and perhaps most importantly, Kroc had his own idea for a meatless menu item, the Hula burger, which was essentially a standard McDonald's cheeseburger with a grilled slice of pineapple instead of a beef patty. Proving success truly does breed innovation. Kroc hated the thought of a fish sandwich, and as owner of McDonald's, he easily could have just gone with his own idea. But he seemed genuinely interested in choosing the option customers would like the most. Hey, you don't sell a trillion hamburgers by not giving the people what they want. So he decided to develop both ideas and have them battle it out for supremacy. Groen's proposed fish sandwich was fried halibut and tartar sauce on a bun, but halibut was too expensive at the time, so, much to his disappointment, he had to use Atlantic cod, a whitefish. To compensate for what he felt was a loss in taste, he added a half slice of cheese. Why a half slice? The obvious reason would be to save money, but on at least one occasion McDonald's has claimed it's a genuine bit of food science, delivering, quote, the perfect balance for the tangy tartar sauce and crispiness of the Filet-o-Fish coating. According to the company itself, both sandwiches were placed on sale at selected locations on Good Friday in 1962. Kroc was wildly confident about the Hula burger's chances, so it was probably a bit of a shock to him when they added up the receipts at the end of the day and sold 350 Filet-o-Fishes compared to a measly 6 Hula burgers. That's just under 60 to 1, in case you were wondering. As for the Hula burger, Kroc would later recall, it was a giant flop. One customer said,
and they said, I like the Hula, but where's the burger?
It's an honest question, but Kroc genuinely seemed to like the Hula burger and frequently claimed that he still made the sandwich for himself at home. True to the terms of the competition, the Filet-o-Fish would become the first ever addition to the original McDonald's menu. It had a limited launch in 1963 and was immediately a massive success. So in 1965, priced at 29 cents and powered by the mildly creepy slogan, "The fish that catches people," the Filet-o-Fish showed up at McDonald's nationwide. For Groen, the Filet-o-Fish turned out to be the fish that catches money. The sandwich improved business at his McDonald's so much, he decided to open a few more. And by a few, we mean he built 43 new locations that employed over 3,000 people, earning Groen over $60 million a year. Imagine what the payday would have been if he'd gotten in early enough to invent fish. One of the reasons McDonald's has never expanded its menu before is that it was too expensive. New foods that could be made in a way that fit the McDonald's brand were difficult to develop. For example, when working on the Filet-o-Fish, the company had teams of chefs and scientists working round the clock to determine things like the thickness of the filet, the type of breading to be used, and the cooking time and temperature. It's not rocket science, it's much harder than that. This new food also meant maintaining relationships with fish suppliers, rejiggering shipping and storage practices, and training employees on new procedures. All of of which was a big, costly pain in the bass, but ultimately well worth the effort. From atop his big new pile of Filet-o Fish profits, Kroc joked that since he made the fish sandwich for Roman Catholics, the Pope would change the rules. And it seemed like a pretty safe joke to make, because what were the odds the Pope would change centuries of Roman Catholic tradition at the exact same time the Filet-o Fish was hitting the market? Kroc couldn't see the future, or else he might have avoided that whole pineapple debacle, but sometimes ironic jokes come true. And sure enough, in 1965, the Second Vatican Council decided it was permissible to eat meat on Friday, as long as you didn't do it during Lent. Maybe the Pope preferred the Hula burger. The Pope may have taken some of the wind out of the sails of the Filet-o Fish, but nothing could stop the sandwich's success. That's at least partially thanks to the power of advertising, an area in which McDonald's has always excelled.
You, me, try and change. Filet-o Fish, we're fixing.
And over the decades, the company has taken several approaches to selling its fish sandwich. The most memorable campaign came in 1976 when they briefly introduced a McDonaldland-type mascot for the Filet-o Fish named Filet-o Fish. Hey, there are no bad ideas in a brainstorm. Phil dressed in a sailor's jacket and boater's hat and was from the Irish part of the ocean. He was also strangely dedicated to catching his fellow fish, carrying a fishing net and endorsing the slogan, "Filet-o Fish says, for a surprisingly good taste, try Filet-o Fish," implying Phil himself found the sandwich surprisingly good. Guess he didn't know any of these fish. However, Phil vanished almost as quickly as he appeared. In 1977, less than a year after Phil's introduction, McDonald's had already switched to a new campaign, and Filet-o Fish never returned. After McDonald's made a boatload of money selling the Filet-o Fish to Roman Catholics as a meatless option with a side of air quotes, every other fast food joint under the sun wanted in on that action. Wendy's has its premium cod filet sandwich, Burger King has the big fish sandwich, Popeyes has a seafood po' boy, White Castle has a fish slider, and even Dairy Queen has the Alaskan Pacific cod sandwich. And if you order from the secret menu, a sardine blizzard. Arby's promoted its new King's Hawaiian Fish Deluxe, Crispy Fish, and Fish and Cheddar sandwiches by taking a direct swipe at the Filet-o Fish on Twitter. Bojangles even joined the fray, the fast food chain, not the tap dancer, pumping up its Bojangler fish sandwich. Of course, none of this came close to the publicity stunt Red Robin tried way back in 2015, when they invited Pope Francis to visit the chain during Lent, offering to serve the Wild Pacific Crab Cake Burger to guests for free if he agreed to do a quick pop-up. But His Holiness ultimately declined. Maybe he's more of a Red Lobster guy. The Filet-o Fish is the only seafood item permanently on McDonald's menu, but it isn't the only fish product they ever tried. In 2013, Mickey D's tried out Fish McBites, which were essentially Fish McNuggets, only less fun to say. And apparently, nowhere near as tasty. Customers didn't McBite, and they were thrown back to the sea in less than a year.
Fishy, fishy.
As for the Filet-o Fish, it changed a bit over the decades. In 2001, McDonald's switched from using halibut to wild-caught Alaskan pollock. Halibut, as it turns out, matures slowly and is especially vulnerable to overfishing. The company made the change out of a concern over sustainable fishing practices. In 2013, the Golden Arches became the first, and as of now the only, national restaurant chain in the U.S. to adopt the Marine Stewardship Council Blue Eco Label, which is the most recognized certification for sustainable seafood in the world. Not bad, Ronald.
That's right.
The Filet-o Fish has also produced some interesting variations. Depending on where you live in the U.S., you can order it with specially formulated Old Bay tartar sauce, and in some Asian McDonald's, you can get it with wasabi. And of course, you can still get the good old classic Filet-o Fish, or a BK Big Fish, a Bojangler, or whatever other variation you prefer. Because these days, every fast food joint has a fish sandwich. So what do you think? What's your favorite drive-thru seafood? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, check out some of these other weird history food videos.